Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we are making my January spreads for the books I read and also doing a spread for my first reading challenge for the year of 2025. But first we have to update my yearly pages, and starting with the goal spread, I read 3 books this month. Her Soul for Revenge by Arlie Leroux, which I gave 4 stars. Soul of a Witch, also by Arlie Leroux, which I gave 4.5 stars. And finally, Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton, which I gave 4 stars. Also, if you want to see the explanations and also the making of these yearly spreads, I'll leave the video linked down below. And next is my maybe next, or what most people call TBR or to be read. And I made a little bit of progress because I already read one of them, which was Soul of a Witch. Now I have to update my little bookshelf with the books, and this one is only for looks because I have a physical bookshelf that I intend to grow in the future, but for now is a little one. And this is also good for my ebooks since I don't have physical copies of them. Moving on to the challenges, I made progress in all of them. For the alphabet challenge, I did the letters H and S, H for Her Soul for Revenge, and S for Satan's Affair. Next to it is my rainbow challenge, which I did the black color, but I forgot to print the cover for Her Soul for Revenge to put here, but it's okay, I just put a note in here and next time I'll do it. The next one is the bingo, and I made a little modification to it. I made a T-pin and I number it with all the squares, following the order of each line. For example, from left to right, it's 1 to 6, the next row is 7 to 12, and so on and so forth. Because I wanted to keep track of what book I had for each prompt of the bingo, and in this case, for example, Her Soul for Revenge is for more than 400 pages and tattooed FMC. Soul of a Witch is for finish a series, which was Soul's trilogy, and character with blonde hair. And Satan's Affair is for girl on the cover, less than 200 pages, and a book that features circus. My only rule for this is to only give each book a maximum of 3 prompts. For example, if Satan's Affair crossed one more prompt, I wouldn't mark it as completed. I would give that prompt to another book. It's basically to make it easy for me, but not too easy, because if one book completes like 10 prompts, it's not very interesting to do this challenge. And also, all these challenges are only for fun. I don't read books to complete the challenges, I read books, and if they eventually complete a challenge, it's fine. I don't go out of my way to try and complete them, if that makes sense. Okay, so next to the bingo is the book places, and in here I'm going to write where the book stories takes place. So in this case, the Soul's trilogy took place in Avalon and Hell, and Satan's Affair was in Houston, Texas, and one more place that for the life of me I can't remember where. But in the end, this page can be for actual places like Texas and places that are not real like Avalon. Now we can update my series tracker, and I completed the Souls trilogy, and technically also the Cat and Mouse duet, because Satan's Affair is a prequel, I guess, for CB's story, but H.E. Carlton made another book that's called Phantom that's also a prequel, but for Adeline's great-grandmother, so I don't really know if they are going to be part of the series do it, I don't know anymore, but for now it's completed in my journal. We can now begin the reading log with these 3 books, and here is basically the database of the overall year in books. I mark here the title, the author, the number of pages, when I started and finished the book, and the star rating. Next is the general review spreads for the books, and I did this type of spread in 2024 but in quarters. So for every quarter I made these setups, but it wasn't really efficient because there was quarters that I didn't read as much, and so basically I wasted pages. So this year I made space for 36 books, which is one more book than my goal, all in the same space of the journal, so no more quarterly spreads like this. And if I read more than that, I can always make a tip in and continue. So in these little sections, I put the cover of the book, the star and spice rating, which are stickers that I made for myself, and then some stats, like the series it's part of, or if it's a standalone, the genre, the format, if I read in paperback, hardcover, ebook, or audiobook, and the year it was published. And below that, I make a quick review in a few sentences, just to know the overall feeling of the book, and if I want to read it in the future, I can go back and quickly see which were my general thoughts. And I write it in Portuguese because, one, I like to do it since the rest of the journal is in English, and also it's great for you guys because I can give you spoilers unless you know Portuguese, and it would be a challenge to understand it because my handwriting is not that good. Now we can finally do my reading challenge, and honestly, I'm so excited to do it since it's the first reading challenge that I follow, and it's hosted by Jess or Jashii here on YouTube. I'll try to explain it, but if you want to enter or understand it more in depth, I'll leave her channel and her video down below so you can check it out and hear it from the actual creator. Okay, so I'm going to first explain the setup, and then I'll explain the actual challenge. In here, as you can see, I left one page before and after the main spread because I'm going to cut out these little boxes that are going to be for each month of the year, and then I'm going to glue that pages together. This will make sense as I go. So I tried to keep it cohesive with the theme of the yearly spreads, which is the witches and cats. So the title, I did the same font as the others, and I used the same decorations like the paper, washi tapes, and stamps as well. The only new thing is this little ghostie that's part of Jashii's channel, so I printed it and going to put it in here. Now, the challenge is called A Year of Goober, and Goober is the little ghosty, and we are supposed to help it build a flower bouquet or book bouquet by completing a monthly read. So basically, each month we have two prompts that we can choose from, and each prompt belongs to a flower, which have different meanings. For example, for January, we could choose from Carnation, which was for your favorite author, and Snowdrop, which was for New Beginnings. I chose Carnation for January, and the book I read for it was Satan's Affair, which was made by my favorite author, H.D. Carlton. For February, we can choose from Violet, which is for continue a series, and this is the one I'm choosing, and also Primrose, which is for middle grade or young adult. As you can see, it's a pretty easy and laid back challenge, which was what I wanted for my first reading challenge, so I don't feel pressure to do it, and it's been fun so far. These images that I put in here were from Jashii's Instagram post, so you can check it out as well to see the specifics. And now, each box is for a month, and on the right side I made a list, and I highlighted every other line. So the lines in gray are for the flower that I pick each month, and the empty line below it is for the meaning of that flower. So for the first one, I'm going to write Carnation, and below it, I'll write Deep Love. What I'm doing now is cutting each box, but leaving the top attached to the page so I can flip them upwards and see what's beneath it. I did it with my X-Acto knife and my cutting board to make sure I didn't make accidental cuts on pages that weren't supposed to be cut. And on the page behind it, I'm going to outline each box again with a fine liner, and I'm going to divide them in two parts, and each part is for a flower and the prompt as well. So when I glue the page and flip the little monthly boxes, I can see which is the prompt that I have to choose. I made it this way because on the front I'm going to put the covers of the books I choose for each month, and I still wanted to have space to put the flowers and the prompts related to them in some place in the spread, so this way I can see both of that specifications, but it's still pleasing to look at because the spread is not full of information. Now you can see what I was talking about, and honestly, I'm very pleased with the result. I think it turned out really cute and functional, and now I just have to do the same thing on the other side. This is how it's going to look like with the cover on the front, but once more I forgot to print it, so I'm going to do it next time. Now it's time to decorate this spread with a little ghosty and the other elements to make this spread look like it's part of the same initial spreads of this journal. The little mascot of the challenge actually went really well with the theme because obviously ghosts, cats, and witches work well together as a theme, and I love ghosts. I mean, ghost stories, paranormal investigations, I'm all in. So, of course, this challenge having a ghost as a mascot and cute as this one is, of course, I'm sold. With the reading challenge done, we can officially make my first monthly cover for this reading journal, and I'm going to do the same layout as I did for the past year because I really liked it and it's easy to decorate and make themes for it. So basically I make a cover page on the right side and a calendar on the left. And for this one, I was inspired by Belle from the Disney movie, and the main star of this cover is this beautiful sticker that I got from Runamareuty. I'll link her channel and shop and Instagram down below. And it's Belle reading on a winter day. So, of course, it's perfect for a reading journal and for a winter month like January. And since this is the main focus, I'm going to do a collage to go well with it as I usually do. I used some washi tapes, texture paper, and stamps to make the collage. And for the title, I'm using my letter stamps with my Ohuhu water-based marker because I don't have an ink pad with a color that matches this color scheme of pinks and reds, so the markers work really well. On the left side, I'm doing my little calendar, and this is where I track my reading throughout the month. It's just a visual of my reading. It's not to track anything, it's really only for fun. And basically, I just make a bar across the days that I spent reading a book. But once it's colored, you're going to understand it. On the top and the bottom right corner, I'm doing little collages as well to follow the theme. And the rose sticker that I'm going to put on the bottom, it's also from Runa. Now that the decoration is completed, we can fill in the calendar with the days that I spent reading each book this month with different colors, so it's easier to differentiate between the books. Because some months I read more than 3 books. It's very rare, but it happens sometimes, especially if they are novellas or books that have 200 pages. So in that case, it's easier to attribute different colors to each book and see the differences in time. With the cover spread done, we can finally start to do my review spreads, and I like to do that in chronological order. So to start, we are going to do Her Soul for Revenge together with Soul of a Witch, since they are part of the same series, and for that I'm going to do a Dutch door, so I can see both of them in the same spread. The story in this trilogy is the same, but each book has different couples, and the story is told in their perspective. So in the first one, the Her Soul to Take, we had Rylene and Leon. In Her Soul for Revenge, we have Juniper and Zane. And the last one, Soul of a Witch, we had Averly and Callum. If you want to see my review for the first one, Her Soul to Take, you can go watch my November reading wrap-up because I'm going to focus more on these two for now. Now, a little bit about the spread before we go ahead with my review. I printed those 4 images that I took from Pinterest and put it on sticker paper because I didn't have any stationery that would be perfect for these books, so instead I searched for some elements like demon wings, fire magic, octopus tentacles, which is a reference to the evil god, because those are elements that appear on the books. And then I went through my stationery and chose some washi tapes, sticker and paper that I thought would go well with the colors, especially because I like to match the theme of the spread with the cover of the book. Also, I forgot to mention, but I'm doing a very different layout from what I did for my 2024 reading journal because I was tired of it. And I went through my 2023 reading journal that I don't have videos for, but I was really inspired by those spreads. So I'm going to post a flip through of that journal, maybe in May/June, I still don't know yet, but stay tuned to see my source of inspiration for this journal. The washi tape that I have on the bottom is from a set that I have from Evie, which I have a discount code for, which is Juliana20 for 20% off your order. And I chose this one because it has witchy elements, it has the colors, and it has a grimoire, which is also a very important thing in this trilogy. So it's perfect. I put another grid gold washi tape on the top of that one and used a sticky note in brown to put on the corners. Then I just had to put the stickers down. So, Her Soul for Revenge follows the story of Juniper, which was a victim of a cult that is trying to wake an ancient evil god. And for that, it has to sacrifice members of some families. Juniper is one of them, but she survived, and now she's out for revenge. To help her is Zane, a demon. He's very attracted to her and he wants to collect her soul. So, they make a deal. If he helps her destroying the cult, she gives him her soul. I really liked this book, much more than the first one, but the spicy scenes were a bit awkward to me, and I don't know, I liked the characters, but it still wasn't a 5-star for me. For Soul of a Witch, as I predicted, it was my favorite book of the trilogy, and the story follows Averly, which is a witch and the daughter of the cult leader, and also Callum, an archdemon. She's not treated very well in that family, so after she witnessed a murder, she landed upon a very ancient house in the middle of the woods, and there she encounters Callum, which has been on a mission to find her for a very long time. And now their mission together is to train Averly to be able to kill the god before he fully awakens. Ella's mission has a whole backstory that I can't say anything, otherwise it's spoiler, but I really like how in the end it's a full circle moment, and I loved it because it explains what it happened in the beginning of the book. I didn't give it 5 stars because again, the spice wasn't for me. Personally, I don't like public scenes, also their reverse roles. It was a bit awkward. I mean, it's only a personal taste, but the story is incredible. I loved every second of it, and even though it's a very long book, I read it really easily. So in layout, I made the title with my letter stamps and the lettering style on the top of the pages, and I put 2 house stickers on each side of the Dutch door, because it reminds me of Averly's house in the woods, which is a thing that is mentioned in both of the books. To fill in the empty space on the bottom corner, I put a key sticker because it also is a thing that Averly needs in the story, so I thought it would be fine to put it in here. Then I put the covers and the star rating, and I wrote 2 quotes, one for each book, because I love quotes, so I chose the ones that relate more to the story. So for Her Soul for Revenge, I picked survival is messy, survival has no morals or kindness, survival isn't black and white, good versus evil, survival is shades of red, it's blood taken and blood lost. And for Soul of a Witch, I picked this family has been cursed for 6 generations, passed down from parent to child, every generation sowing the same rotten seeds. But I'll break it. It ends with me. Which I thought these 2 resumed pretty well the vibes of each book. Let's move on to the final book, that's Satan's Affair. So, every Halloween, Satan's Affair will travel the country offering terrifying haunted houses, rides and food. A typical fair. But inside the dollhouse, that's where the real horror begins. Because inside its walls, there's CB, which will judge you as you pass through the house. And if she thinks that you're evil, you are pretty much gone, because no one that CB chooses can escape her and their henchmen's hands. CB is a pretty complex character. She goes through so much trauma in her childhood, and her mental state is so fragile. So it's really heartbreaking reading through her story, but it's also so interesting to get to know her and where her mind goes at times. It has a massive plot twist in the end that I already knew because I read Hunting Adeline first, but it was still really good. Also, I really liked to see the scene with Zaid from her perspective instead of Zaid's, and also throughout the story you can pick up some things that are kinda hinting at that plot twist, but it's still really interesting. I still have my own opinion of that plot twist because I don't think it's totally true, but I guess I have to wait until her book is out. I put this girl that's part of the PET tape because that's how I imagine Civi to be. Not blonde, but the vibe of the doll because she's dressed in a costume, and that's the closest of my view of her. I also used this girl PET tape in my October 2023 bullet journal setup if you want to check it out. I put the picture of a haunted house in a fair and used this stripped paper to give the look of an old wallpaper. Then I just filled in with some washi tapes and this sticker of a pink knife that's CV main weapon that also has a story. And then I made the title exactly as it is on the book, but instead of yellow I used red to be on theme with the rest of the spread. And then I wrote two quotes. The first is, normal? What does normal even mean? Normal is subjective. And the second one is, funny how something so painful will heal and disappear like it didn't nearly bring me to my knees. These quotes really resonated with me, and I think it describes Civi really well. I love this book. Not a 5-star because it's not on the same level as Hunting Adeline for me, at least. But I enjoyed the story, I liked Civi as a character, and I'm really excited to see if we are going to get a book about her. But after the story of The Cat and Mouse Duet, because she's part of that. But we'll see. Now that the spreads are all done, it's time for the final flip through. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give a like and subscribe, it helps me a lot. And comment down below if you are part of any reading challenge this year, or if you don't like being part of one. This is my first time doing one, so I'm very excited. These spreads were so much fun for me to do, they are all different and it felt really good going back to how I did my review spreads in my first reading journal. I hope you guys didn't mind my constant talking in this video since it's a long one, so if you made it this far, I'm very grateful. I hope you have a lovely day or night, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!